Today, we will know whether or not the Big 12 gets screwed by the College Football Playoff Committee, and more so, one man, Kirk Schulz, the president at Washington State. Once again, I want to entertain, engage, and inform the three E's. And to do that, let me give you some context here. The College Football Board of Managers is expected to vote today to approve a 5+7 playoff format. What would that mean? Well, there are four power conferences right now, right? Because the Pac-12 went away. So it was a Power 5, now a Power 4. Well, what they want to do is have four conference champions, the Power 4, and the best conference champion out of the group of five. That makes up five playoff teams. Then the +7 here. Those seven come from the at-large bids. In this scenario, the 6+6 is not good. The 5+7 is, because an extra fringe team, which could be a Big 12 team, if, say, Kansas State is sitting at 12, this is going to benefit you, or 11 or whatever it might have to be. This is going to benefit you, whereas the 6+6 has to go to another conference champion. Well, in technicality, by the way, Kirk Schulz, who represents Washington State, has the entire power as a member of the managers to veto this. It has to be unanimous to move from the 6+6 format to the 5+7. Now, the 5+7 makes sense because there are only four power conferences. But the 6+6 is still in play because Kirk Schulz has all of the veto power in his hand. And since he's the president at Washington State, who got left out of the Power 5, now Power 4, and Oregon State is kind of in their little bundle with them, he obviously isn't very happy with what's happened to his school or his school's counterpart. Here's the good thing. According to Heather Dinich of ESPN, he is willing to comply, and he sees the fact that the 5+7 is going to benefit all of college football. And by the way, the 5+7 would benefit him because under the current format, the Pac-2 doesn't exist since they've signed a proposal with the Mountain West for those two schools to play a quasi-football schedule with the Mountain West. So with that, if it's a 6+6 and now six conference champions have to get in, and you say, well, Kirk, your team can't win a conference championship. You're not in a conference here. What do we do with this? Like, you're not like 5+7 is going to benefit you because it's going to give another at-large. You are an at-large team. You want as many of those as possible. And if you're the Big 12, you want as many at-large teams as possible. The 7 is where I love the Big 12's odds at getting multiple teams in, or as many as 3 teams into the college football playoff. Folks have called me crazy, but I say again, you have one undefeated conference champion, 2 teams that sit at 1 loss out of the Big 12. One is 11-1, the other is 12-1. All 3 of those teams will get in the college football playoff, especially if the format allows for 7 at-larges as well as your conference champion getting in. That's a dream scenario for this conference, but it's also very possible. That is, if Kirk Schulz, who has kind of nothing and kind of everything to lose in this, just complies. Why would he comply? Why would Kirk Schulz, who deserves to get revenge against college athletics, give a vote to the 5+7 format? Why wouldn't he create complete chaos? Well, a couple of things. One, as I already mentioned, that helps him, the 5+7, more at-large team, so it gives his school a better chance of making the college football playoff. That's one. Maybe the bigger one is it's just kind of common sense. Like, we can't, if you withhold your vote and we stay at a 6+6, everyone's going to hate you. Right now, all of the committee and the ADs across the country and the presidents, they understand that this sucks. Like, if you're a Kansas State fan, right? We found out tomorrow that due to your president or even beyond the university's control, due to something lackluster, that you can't be a Power 5 team anymore, you wouldn't like that. Like, I understand why this guy would want to go against the machine. However, we can't really, the machine is still kind of helping you in the 5+7. And also, we don't want to make everybody hate you because that's not going to do you any favors down the road. Here is what Kirk Schulz said. This is per ESPN. We've got to be a good colleague in the college football world. So he's given out the vernacular that he's going to change it to the 5+7. He is saying without saying, I understand that we need to do what's right for this sport. He continues, we asked for the opportunity to have a hearing on revenue distribution that was granted. We have to be really careful about saying, if you don't give us, this is a great quote, this is a money quote. We have to be really careful about saying, if you don't give us exactly what we've asked for, we're going to hold up some other things. The decision has to be one made by us in Oregon State, and we're still going through that decision-making process leading up to the meeting next week. So if you're like me, you hear that, and let me plant it in your brain. Don't miss this. He says, in essence, we don't want to hold up the college football world. He says, we're not going to be those people who say, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to try to pull you back. Then the next thing he says in this quote is, the decision has to be one made by us in Oregon State, and we're still going through that decision-making process leading up to the meeting next week. God, Kurt, you were right there, buddy. You were right there. You had us hooked on, we're going to do what's right. We believe in doing what's right. And then you just dropped it with, but we're still thinking about what we're going to do. He ends the quote with, there's no assumption to be made that we have to get X to get Y either way. What does that mean? Maybe you can deduce it clearer than I can. But the presidents, the chancellors representing each of the 10 FBS conferences and Notre Dame have the ultimate authority over the playoff. And Kirk Schulz is going to meet. I do kind of love that he's there because this has held everything back. Like it is that we have not, guys, you understand, we are what? 9 months away from the college football playoff happening again, in essence, right? 9 months away from deciding again who's going to be in the college football playoff. We're getting close, 10 maybe. And we don't know how the playoff's going to work. We don't know what the format of the college football playoff is going to be because of one guy, Kirk Schulz. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that happened before that, so we can't just blame it all on him. But if he didn't exist here, we wouldn't be having this conversation up to this point. I just hope, for the sake of the Big 12, and because it's going to benefit Kirk Schulz down the road, that he does what is sadly the right thing. It's the right thing that sucks that he has to be the guy to do it, right? We killed your horse. You're the one that has to bury it. But also, you don't want the stinky dead horse in your home. Yeah, we killed it in your living room. You still have to bury it. Sorry. Do the right thing. Bury the stinky dead horse. Don't let it stink up the place. Sorry. That stinky dead horse, once buried, helps the Big 12 get more college football playoff teams in. Why wouldn't I like it? The more playoff teams we get, the more Locked On Big 12 goes. I like that. Speaking of, this is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team. It's every day. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. LinkedIn Talent Solutions is where I go. It's where I go. It's like I get bored and I'm like, I'm going to go to LinkedIn Talent Solutions and see who is hiring. I'm not looking for a job, but I do love scrolling through there and seeing who's hiring, but also who can I hire to be an intern for Locked On Big 12. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. No, there are a billion professionals on LinkedIn, and it makes it the easiest place to find a new candidate fast. So easy. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. They know that you're wearing so many hats and you might not have the time to hire. They make it easy for you. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. LinkedIn.com/lockedoncollege to boast your job for free. Find the next great member of your staff at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply.